I feel a bit like too tall up here. Hi, thank you for having me here. It's my first time in Riga, and I feel already really welcome, so it's great to be here in Riga for the first time. Since this place is more or less all about startups, I would like to talk a bit about opportunities for startups. And even though I work for the EIT, whatever that means, this JPEG thing, EIT ICT Labs, I'm going to start with a slide coming from Y Combinator. I think almost all of you know Y Combinator. It's the incubator of the incubator coming from the US. Companies like Airbnb or Dropbox went through their programs, and they have actually identified a number of fields startups should focus on, and hopefully you're all focusing on the right topics which I mentioned here. The reason why I'm showing this is for two things. First of all, I think it's giving a good overview of what is actually up to date right now. Cybersecurity is also one of the hot topics at the moment. The only thing which is a bit like weird to me is like number 17. It's called Hollywood 2.0. So if you have a startup focusing on celebrities and how to discover them, you're really on the right way and should definitely contact maybe a Y Combinator on this. No, honestly, the reason why I'm showing this slide is that when I looked at it, I got the impression, okay, pretty good. We're focusing on the right topics because these are the topics we're actually focusing on. So I got a good feeling after seeing that that pictogram coming from Y Combinator. But who is we or who is us in the end? It's the EIT ICT Labs. I like to show this pictogram because it looks already a bit like confusing. This is what the organization is. Sometimes when it's funded by the European Union, it's like big and sometimes a bit like too crowded in the end. But what is the main idea behind the EIT ICT Labs? The European Union has, I think, like 5 or 6 years decided to found the European Institute of Innovation and Technology for one reason, to foster innovation all across Europe, meaning like the EU 28 member state countries. So what do? We support startups. That's the main idea. We would like to bring them together with our partners. That means we have 9 offices all across Europe, like in Helsinki, for example, in Germany, in Italy, in France. Unfortunately not in Latvia, but we're working on cooperation partners in Latvia. And the basic idea is to help startups with growing in other markets. So that means if they join us, will get supported by our business developers. We have like around 35 business developers working all across Europe. And they will get connected, for example, with our partners in France. If they want to grow in France, that means we have all the leading ICT companies and research institutes and universities in each of the countries as partners. And therefore, we have like 2 ways to support them. So if they get supported, they become part of this business development accelerator, where all these 35 people are actually working in. They get the typical mentoring and coaching, but as I mentioned already, the main USP is that we can actually help them with growing in other markets. That means they can start working from our offices. If they are from Latvia, you could just move over to France, start working from our office in France. You would get a first point of contact, and you would also get the opportunity to meet like the right people from the field you're actually working in. And of course, we also help with access to finance. Last year, we managed to close deals of a rough number of like 20 millions, like 40 deals with an approximate number of like 20 millions. And to give you like a short impression how this can look like for a concrete startup, I don't know if you know this company, but I got the impression like people all across the Baltic states know Blio. I don't know if anyone knows Blio. Can you raise your hand? Like one person only? 2, 3, 4. So there are always a few. I don't know how he's doing this, but Claudio is from Italy. He's living in Lithuania, and he founded Blio a few years ago. And they participated in our startup contest I will talk about in a few slides, and he ran through some of our programs. I met him last week at Login conference, and he's now at a break-even point with his language learning software. So if you're trying to learn a language, you should check it out. It's running much smoother than like a year ago. So that's what we actually do. So they participate in any of our activities, they become part of the network, and then you can actually move over, for example, like Blio did for a certain time to one of our offices. He stayed with us in Berlin, and then you get like supported with the typical things like all the typical accelerators are actually offering to startups as services. Another example is TinyTracks. I don't know if any of you heard of TinyTracks before. Anyone knows TinyTracks? Probably not. They are from Hamburg originally. They have developed a software which is like a therapy software for tinnitus. So what you can do now is you can listen to your favorite music, and it's actually working as a therapy for tinnitus. So what they're going really good as a company right now. They won the accelerator in Austin, the South by Southwest, and they're now introducing their product in the Dutch market. Since we have an office in Eindhoven in Holland, they got supported by us with doing so. That's another example of how we actually work. So they're based in Berlin. They participated also in our startup contest, I will talk about in a few slides. And since then, they're like part of the family, and they get supported by a business developer based in Eindhoven, and that's why he also helped them with going to the Dutch market. So if you have anyone in your family having tinnitus, you should definitely check out this. The software is already available in the Google Store. I think it's not yet available in the iTunes Store, but it's actually working, and they're trying to enter the American market right now, and they also get supported by us. But of course, it's not only us who's making them big. It's still their product, not us doing this. So that's the reason why I'm here. I would like to talk about the Idea Challenge. It's the startup contest for startups which are already like in the prototype stage. That means the prototype should be available at least, or the company should be funded yet. Besides that, it can be still like an early stage startup. And what is it all about? We run it every year, and right now you can apply. So the application phase is open for it, and it's a typical startup contest. We are focusing on 8 categories. I will talk about these categories in a few slides. You can win up to 40,000 euro, no strings attached. That means we do work with public money, so no one is having actually commercial interest. So of course there's money involved, but still the main USP is not the money which is coming with this contest. It's actually the possibility to get access to the network we're having. Blio became like second last year in one of the categories, and I think TinyTracks won the health and well-being category last year. And you can actually see what happened with them since then. Just to make it clear again, because at the Y Combinator slide, you could get a first impression on categories or on topics we're working on. These are the 8 categories you can actually apply for. So any startup, or anyone who's having a startup working in one of these fields should definitely talk to me right afterwards, or should check out our social media channels, also our website. But I think the best and easiest way is just to talk to me afterwards. This is a bit dark, but you can actually apply until July the 6th. So we just started it a few days ago. Still enough time to run. It's not that difficult to apply. It's just a few pages on an application form asking for some details concerning your company. And if you apply for it, after July the 6th, our evaluation team will actually decide who is good, who is not good, or not that good. And the 10 best teams of each category will be invited to a final. These finals would take place all across Europe at either one of our nodes or hubs. And there you will get a chance to pitch in front of the expert community, in front of investors, and also get a chance to get awarded. So the first 3 teams get awarded with like 40,000 euro, 25 or 15,000 euro. But I think the main USP is like actually getting an opportunity to contact or to get in touch with the community of experts. That means, because it's always a bit difficult to explain, in each of these 8 categories, we have actually people experts from the companies working with us, like Deutsche Telekom, for example, in Germany, or Nokia in Helsinki, or Intel in UK, or like Orange in France, working in these categories. So it's not only that we think these categories are fancy, we have actually people doing research in these fields. So startups which are part of our program usually start I don't know, research projects with like some research partners, or they find customers in one of our partners from the network. So the basic idea is to bring together like innovation coming from research mainly. So we're also pretty often looking into universities, companies, and academia. And we would like to connect with startups. And for them, they should actually start growing. One last slide, and then I'm already done with my short presentation, is like a summary from last year, and that's also the reason why I'm here. We received quite a lot of applications, so 1,500 people registered, and we received like around 800 applications in the end, but unfortunately, or fortunately, most of them came from Italy, Germany, and France, as always, typical big countries. And since we have offices in these countries, we have a better network, and so more people were reached and more people applied in the end. I was pretty busy last year in Poland, so we managed to increase the number of applications coming from Poland. I wasn't in Latvia, unfortunately, but we received a few applications, I think like 2 or 3, which is like still a low number. And since we're talking about European Union money, or like taxpayers' money in the end, this is opportunity for everyone all across the European Union. So this is also something Latvia should be aware of, or should get at least the chance to know what it's all about. So I'm really looking forward to receive more applications coming from Latvia. So thank you for the moment. And if you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me and to see what's actually going on, where I'm traveling to, where I'm actually conducting activities. For example, what we plan right now is a bus trip to the InfoShare conference in Gdansk. So if you're at InfoShare in Gdansk in June, you get the chance to meet us again. Also, my colleagues will be at Latitude in the next days in Tallinn. So who's going to Latitude? I knew it, like a few. So feel free to contact them. You will probably find them, because there's also a guy focusing on privacy, security, and trust coming from Italy to Latitude, and he will be involved in this privacy, security, and trust panel. So if you like a specific topic on that field, feel free to contact them. Thank you for the moment.
We've got time for 2 or 3 questions, if there are any.
Are you from Berlin?
Okay. Easy to guess, right?
Yeah.
Because of that picture, because of me like in front of you?
The word next to obey.
Okay, that's also another hint. Yeah, it's true.
And how are you financed? Is it private companies behind your company? Is it Deutsche company?
No, it's like, in the end, it's like European Union money, but the partners, meaning the corporates, they have to pay a membership fee, but they get something in return for it, because they get also access to fundings. But in the end, it's publicly funded. It was initiated by the European Union or European Commission like 6 years ago. But since we have like 120 members or like partners, at least half of it, like 1/3 to half of it, are like corporates, and they're paying membership fees. But still, no one has any commercial interest. It's all about supporting startups in the end, and so there are no strings attached, whatever we do.
More questions?
Which competition is it now? And I mean, how many times have you done this already? And can you name the best startup, or highest exit, or what was success rate there? Thank you.
It's the second edition of the startup contest. We did it for the first time last year, and from the number of applications, we think at least it went pretty well. So we received applications from 27 out of 28 member state countries, and I mentioned like at least Tinitrax is one of the best performing startups from our portfolio. There are not that many, or I mean like no exits yet, because we're doing this for like 3 years now, and usually exits come a bit later. But as I mentioned, we have managed to support 40 startups from our network with closing deals with investors of approximate rough number of like 20 million euro in the end. This is like a total number of deal flow we have managed to support. but there are no exits like typical exits.
And the last question, anyone? Okay, then we give a big round of applause. Thank you.